So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to today's Thursday Live. I'm Denise Armenio, and we have Claire McIntyre and Connie Minnis, and special guest, Dr. Debbie Drake, who will help and assist in talking through what some of the more advanced medical terms and explanations may be for some of the things that come up in today's scan. We also have a volunteer for us today, Francesca Horby, and I'm just going to, I will unmute you in a minute. Where did you go here? Hi, you're here.
Hi, I'm here. Thank you so
Nice to
much.
meet you.
Nice
You're very welcome. So I am going to get set up screen share, which I didn't do yet. Apologies. Just give me 1 second. And the chat. Okay, so we're going to be working with Francesca today. She has severe backache. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. I've got back injury is right, Denise.
Okay, so we're going to be working with Francesca for that. I just need your birth date to get started here.
Sure. April 25th, 1958. How did that happen?
I don't know. That clock keeps moving. Would you say 58?
That's right.
Okay.
Are you doing astrology?
Astrology, not today.
No, I mean, you're just doing that as a protocol, right?
Oh, you mean your birthday comes up because when we use the Genius, we put your full name and the birth date, and it's kind of like what would be an IP address, so that when we're sending frequencies through the quantum field, it has a way of identifying you.
Okay, good. I just was curious.
So, yeah, no, astrology is not my area of expertise. So I would hand that off to someone else if they wanted to speak on that. But anyway, so you are new to the Genius, and so I will try to go as slow as I can so to help you better understand, but I also want to keep the pace so that you get your demonstration in. So if you do have questions, let me know, and I'm always happy to answer them via email afterwards.
Thanks, Denise.
You're welcome. So I've entered all your information here, and this is going under your under a user record, and then I can just hit next. And then this is just SOP, standard operating procedure, just to identify what issues that we're going to be working with. And you have severe back.
Yeah, I've got a lower back injury, Denise.
Okay.
So it's affecting my posture.
Oops.
So I'm like hunching over now. It's not good. But looking at your other items here, nothing else would fit.
Okay. Back pain. Anything in the neck?
Nope.
No allergies or anything like that? Muscle aches?
Nope.
Okay, so I will just hit begin on here and bring us to the next screen. Okay, so for this screen, what the Genius works great with, it uses everybody's voice and does an analysis. So I'm going to ask you in just a minute to say your name and your full name, and to repeat the vowels A-E-I-O-U. And the Genius uses this information to see where you have energetic disturbances. And basically that information is coming a lot from your vagus nerve. When we speak, generally people can normally tell if someone is in a happy mood or in a bad mood by how they're speaking and how their voice sounds. So with the Genius, it's a little bit the same way. So if you are ready, I'm going to, I'll say 3, 2, 1, begin, and say your full name and just repeat the vowels A, E, I, O, U until the 15 seconds is up.
Thank you.
3, 2, 1, begin.
Francesca Horbe, A-E-I-O-U. Francesca Horbe, A-E-I-O-U. Francesca Horbe, A-E-I.
That's perfect. Thank you. So now if you notice on the bottom left of the screen, it says voice harmonics. What that is it will now, we can now replay what you just recorded. The Genius has translated it into a frequency and you can hear that. And it works a little bit like a homeopathic. You may want to turn your volume up because it generally tends to be a very low pitched sound. So it's a little bit harder to hear. It was pretty low pitch, so I don't know if you heard that. It was even hard on my side to.
I mean, I know my computer volume is max.
So it's okay if you didn't hear it. The frequencies still go through the quantum field, so you will get it, but it is sometimes nice just so you can hear it. I am now going to hit go to the next screen. If you can also just tell me on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being severe, what is your pain level today?
You know, Denise, it's not like a pain, it's like an injury. So,
okay.
I mean,
So it's more of a posture thing than of a pain thing.
Yeah, I did have a back injury, so yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm kind of slouched over. So it's more like that. Does that still work?
Well, I mean, if you may be able to tell a difference on how much, you know, on your posture when we're done. If you can just look into the camera for a second, I just want to take your screenshot of you. Sorry, Mike. Oh, just look into the camera for a second. Okay,
Keep your screen down so we can see your chin.
You know what? I can't see myself.
I got her chin in it.
I see you, Denise, but I don't see anyone else.
Yeah, they turn their cameras off because it's
got it.
They're having some
Okay,
issues.
you got it. Thank you.
Okay, so do you have an affirmation you like to use, or would you like me to use the one that I work with?
Oh, I'll use yours. Thanks, Denise.
Okay, so the one I like to use, and this is Dr. Deb's favorite, and I picked it up from her, is all energies, are transmuted into the frequency, of love. Sorry, I can't, I was having a hard time typing and reciting it at the same time. But so I just added that in.
Very
now,
nice. That's very nice. I love it. Great.
So here, this is what the trial version of the Genius would look like for anybody who may be getting the trial or has the trial. It has the 3 categories: biofield, body, and mind. Now, I have created libraries and I have purchased libraries, which I want to add. So am able to use them in this session with you. So I'm going to go get them. And the way in which you do that is these 3 bars on the top right corner are called your navigation bars, or sometimes we refer to it as saying going to your back office. So I'm going to click on that. And then I'm just going to scroll up until I get to libraries. And so this is all of the libraries I have created. And here are, and when I click on shared, are all the libraries that I've either purchased or friends have sent me. But I'm just going to add them all to client by tapping on add to client at the bottom, select all and hitting OK. And then I'm also going to just add to client and select all of the master branches that I've set up. And now I can just go back to the main page, and you can see that there's a new category here, libraries, which shows that I just added my libraries to this Genius session. So the first thing that you want to do when you come here is hit begin analysis, which is on the bottom. So now you'll see under each category, there are what we call panels or different libraries. So under biofield, you can see that there's a bunch here starting with spiritual protection. Then we have libraries, which I will get to in a minute, body, and a bunch of different panels, and then mind. And the order is important here because the Genius is showing us that it's finding the largest energetic disturbance in the area of your biofield. And then libraries next, and then your body, and then in your mind lastly. So before I go further, the one thing that's nice to see is the Genius gives you the ability to have an aura picture taken, and we use this throughout the session as a gauge to see if energy is moving and how well it's moving. So I'm going to just click on this now so we can get that before picture. It's also important when you're running these frequencies to stay hydrated with water. So if you have some, that would be awesome.
So I'll just go get some then.
You can, if you don't have some, that would be great.
I'll just be right back. Thanks.
So if anybody has any questions while we're waiting for Francesca to get back, I'm happy to answer any, just because I want her to see her aura here. I am going to take a sip of water myself. Everybody could hear the volume on me okay, right? I know sometimes it fluctuates. Or maybe put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me, because oh, thank you, Wendy. Thanks, Connie. Okay, we're good. I just wanted to make sure. So Francesca is back. She has her water. So looking at your aura here, what I like to look for is bright, vibrant colors. When they're pale or muddy or dirty, it's a sign of stagnant energy. It could also be a sign that if you're using the Genius a lot, that you just have a lot of energies moving around in your field. In this case, I'd probably would say there's probably stagnant energy that needs to, hopefully we can break that up and move that and help with some of your injury. So I'm going to go back to the main page now. And the first thing I like to do when I get here is work with the your vessel to make sure that you're primed with all the minerals and vitamins that you should have. And it will work on, we will be working on the biofield at the same time. And that's just to prep your body and prepare it to receiving more frequencies. So as I'm getting that, as this is doing its thing, so I can pull up the library, I just wanted to explain a little bit about the Genius, the value system that it uses. You'll see these numbers represented on the right hand side. And so the Genius uses a number system that ranges from 0 to 777. Hold on. We lost Deb for a minute. So I'm just going to add, so right now, this is a library that Dr. Deb and I have created, and I'm just going to add all these frequencies into what we call the main hold tray on the bottom. And I'm doing that right now by adding all reds, yellows, greens, and blues. And I'm going to explain to you what those mean. So the Genius, like I said, uses this numerical value system between 0 and 777. Between 0 and 100 is represented by the color blue. And those are observed to be chronic energetic disturbances. And in Chinese medicine, they'll refer to that as stagnant energy, or you may also hear it referred to as under energy. Then the next range is between 101 and 450, and that's represented by the color green. And then we go from 451 to 688, and that's represented by the color yellow. And then we go 689 to 777, and that's represented by the color red. And red is observed to be acute energetic disturbances, meaning that there are disturbances happening now in the present. You haven't had this energetic disturbance for a long period of time. In Chinese medicine, that may be referred to as heat or inflammation, and also is referred to as over energy, where that item that we're looking at may have too much energy, as opposed to if it were blue, not getting enough energy. So when we're working on balances, the Genius makes it really easy for us, and it will say work with the reds and the blues, and that's what happens if we were to work with a quick balance. It will just work with the reds and the blues on that page. Otherwise, when we are working on areas that we want to focus on, sometimes we broaden that range, and we might work with all items 600 and above and 200 and below. And the reason for that is that when we look at it, all the items in relationship to each other, sometimes those yellow or greens might become a high priority to work with. So right now, I'm just going to go to the main hold tray, which you can see here on the bottom on the white banner. And all the way to the right, you can see like a little triangle, which is the play button. If I tap on that, it brings us to the progressive insights. And this is where I'm going to run your first frequencies. I'm going to hit begin analysis. And I'm going to hit all, and that will check off all the items in here. And I believe there's approximately 151. And I'm just going to hit play and run that for 1 minute. So this is going to be helpful for you, because part of your biofield is where the Genius found most of your energetic disturbances. So it may be beneficial if we run this more than a minute. I just want to see what your percent rectification is after running it a minute for 1 minute. Deb, are you still here?
we lost it. We lost
I
Deborah.
think she's
Can you
here.
hear me?
Oh, here she is.
Yeah, she's here.
Yeah.
I just couldn't.
I'm here. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
hi. Oh, yeah, now I can. Hi. You were so quiet. So this is
I'm
great.
having I'm having in and out internet, but I would like to point out that in the middle of this page, a lot of her gut areas around the niacin, which restores nerves, is the most important vitamin to clean the liver and to support your carbohydrate metabolism. So she doesn't have any niacin in her nerves. Her posture could be slumping over because of we're involved here. So why are her vertebrae not able to hold herself up? And I want people to remember that for the last 2 months, we're talking about dopamine dopamine made of zinc and tyrosine, and iodine for thyroid, and adrenaline. These are the postural hormones that keep you upright. So if somebody has a very bad case of gut dysbiosis, they could lose all the zinc and dopamine in their postural muscles of their spine and start slumping over like school.
Does it create the scoliosis or just
This-
mimicking it? Oh, yeah, your sound is off. Deb, I don't mean to cut you off, but I can't hear you very well right now. So I just wanted to say that after 1 minute, what? You had a 57% rectification, which is really great. So I'm not going to run this. I don't think I need to run this longer right now. We'll go back to the front page here. And what I wanted to show you was also that these little arrows on the left-hand side show us that there's information if we click on that line that we can see below. So for example, if we click on meridians, now we can see all the different meridians that are here. We did just have these meridians in the panel that I ran. So I'm not gonna look at these right now and put them in the tray because they're already in there. What I would like to do is go to the click on system overview. And that brings us to general overview, and general overview is the same as the system overview page, except it shows us the system overview in its expanded form, and then it reorganizes everything in chronological order so that you can actually see what your like the top highs are and your top or your bottom lows, which are the items that have been having the energetic disturbance for a longer period of time. So let's just run the analysis on this part. And so here we can see that you had a point on your kidney meridian 14, which is at 776. So that's pretty high. The emotion of affection. Then we have the Bach flower essence of elm. And I can just read that to you because a lot of times these Bach flower essences really touch on what is going on. So the quick meaning of the flower essence elm is feeling overwhelmed by responsibility. Overwhelmed is the operative word and can happen when you take on many projects and feel spread a little thin. Now, this is also red, so this is happening currently. So that doesn't mean that this is happening on a long-term basis, but it might represent what you may be feeling now. You are the best judge if that resonates for you. Brain is coming up twice in a row here, so that would be really important. That's telling me that we really need to pay attention to that. It's showing up as today's stress and also as an organ, and they're both showing at 774, so it's pretty accurate on how it's showing up here. If I click on general overview again, it's going to take us to the bottom. And so on the bottom, now we see wild oat as a Bach flower essence, and I can read you that meaning. in just a second. And then it shows us a number of different meridian points. So what this is telling me is that we need to spend some attention on your meridians and maybe get that flow of energy throughout your body working correctly. Deb, I don't know if you wanted to share any information on that, but that definitely seems.
Excellent. You're making an excellent analysis. And honestly, with somebody with multi-segmental issues going on, this is where the genius shines, because it can work at, hundreds of meridian points and multiple spinal sessions and multiple lobes of the brain simultaneously to reconnect all the Christmas tree lights so the house lights up again. It seems like some of her extension cords of autonomic nervous system are so stressed from her hunched over back and exhausted hip, and she was hit on a bus and fell over a block of wood and wrenched herself into a unaligned position. So somebody who's got a twist in the back or a hump in the back or something, try to look at the meridians and the spinal to realign that, because then those organs that are coming off of the spine will be better innervated. But for the last how many weeks I've been teaching you guys, every single gut infection triggers celiac antibodies to chew off the myelin sheath, which regulates all nerve conduction everywhere. So since it's showing her brain and her spine and her meridians, it sounds like a more diffuse, systematic, not just one little nerve where she hurt herself, but all nerves now are suffering.
Right.
So the autonomic nervous system has to be given back the acetylcholine to calm down, but we need to look at the gut and see if there's some cause of celiac disease in her bioterrain that's chewing away her myelin sheath. And I believe that her mother did have MS, which could mean that there was a family trouble with celiac disease or something that we don't know about in the background.
Or even just trauma, systemic trauma that occurred from such a traumatic injury. But what I just wanted to read, which is
Can
really
I just mention one more thing? If she has a traumatic back injury, the bowel motility may be disturbed, and so now she can't evacuate well, and that might be a setup for other gut dysbiosis. I'll just
So,
say that.
the one thing I did just want to read though is because I love these Bach flower essences, and they're so helpful, especially when you work with them in addition to working with the emotions. But wild oat comes up as your lowest blue item, so it has been out of energetic disturbance for the longest period of time. But the meaning of wild oat might surprise you. It says uncertainty over the direction in one's life, find passionate renewal to pursue your dreams, releases back pain and stress of overwork. So hopefully that will also help you. What I did also while Dr. Deb was speaking was I've added the reds and the blues into the main hold tray. So I just want to go back to the progressive insight. I cleared it out from the prior frequencies that were in there before. And I just want to run an analysis again on these new ones. And I will run all of them for 1 minute. And we also have Nogier B showing up, which it is really interesting to see what these are. So Nogier B, the quick meaning is digestion, lymphatic, circulatory, and neuropathy. So again, that really is directing us back to the issue in here that we were just talking about. So I'm just going to hit play. You can see play on the bottom. Laura has a question. So she said, is it okay to have 151 items in the tray versus less is more? For demonstration purposes, it would be hard for me to break it down into small pieces. I think that you're going to have a benefit from both. If you have less in the tray, I think that you would see that maybe you would be able to clear all the highs because there are less there to clear. So if you ran it a few times, you might see all the highs turn into mediums and lows. But based, but you can still use 151 items. And Laura, I think that you're asking this question based on what Dr. Deb had mentioned on Thursday. And Deb, if you want to chime in on that, but
Yeah, I'm just to clarify, the red zones are weighted by the software 3 times as much as the blue zones. The blue zones are given a weight of 1 importance. The yellow zones are given 2 importance for being out of the zone, and the red zones are given a level of 3 importance. So you're already getting 3 times the emphasis when you put those red things in the tray. And in that case, less is more because you don't have to keep hammering it over and over again. The software is already doing a 3-time sweep on those elements. The thing is that each element in the entire tray has 96 sub elements to it in the software. That is, 18 markers times 26 times 6 volume levels. So like 8 times 6 volume levels is something like, 8, even up to 18 or 20 markers per item is going to give you 100. So if you have 100 markers per item and you put 100 items in your tray, the computer is using 1,000 items of testing behind the scenes. So you have to sort of multiply, well, however many things you've got in that tray, the computer is computing 10 times the amount of data in the background of that. So I talked to the developers and they said anywhere between 75 and 150 items on the tray can be easily tolerated by the software. When you start putting 500 items on the tray, then each item is only getting 1/3 of the time available to pass over it. So it may be an incomplete resolution. So if you find your rectifications are only 20 or 10%, you want to get up to rectifications of 60 or 70%, then try running 125 items on the tray, especially of the red zones, get those out of the way, and then you can see higher rectifications on a shorter amount of time with 125 or 150 items.
And that
Does that
is
make sense?
basically what's happening when I run like all the frequencies. I run that twice, running all the frequencies. So if there are 151 items, I'm running that twice. But then when I go to run just the high for 3 minutes, it's cutting that down. It usually is pretty much a third, and a third. So, I mean,
And
if
did
you
you
look,
notice that great technique? Denise is showing you a great, I mean, she may not be realizing how beautiful this is, but she's showing you that when you use the general systems overview, it's giving you a list that could be memorized as your top and bottom list just to get it into the tray. But then you can sub-analyze that into high, medium, and low. So
right.
the very first time that you grab a lot of things onto the tray, then you're subsecting that down with the high, medium, and low button, and maybe even just running only the highs within that list. So it allows the coach to hone in on the area of concern. So while this client today came to say, I'm hunched over with my back after an injury, she really is also showing a lot of gut issues at the same time that could be damaging her celiac markers. So by using the artificial intelligence to give you the whole list, notice it came up with niacin for her nerve numbness, and it came up with Bach flower remedies for being overworked, which she has been on a big project and is overworked. And so there's a lot of truth to what this computer is pulling out of her subconscious mind, more so than I could ever say as an individual knowing her well. So go by letting the computer sort the highs and lows, and you got a lot of chances to come back at it, right? You can come back another week at this and do a second combing and a third combing. So try to go with the priorities that she's identifying each day, using the high zone, knowing you're getting 3 times the sweep. But if somebody really is stuck for a long, long time, look to the celiac disease in the gut or dysbiosis that's impairing them from healing their meridians or their nerves, which would normally heal their organs. That's all I
Right.
have to say. Thank
So
you.
I'm going to run the highs now for 1 minute, and then we'll clear this and we'll start digging a little deeper with the libraries, because we've really touched, now that we looked at the general overview, we touched on mostly everything that's significant on that system on that first page, on the system overview. I'm sorry, I was losing my train of thought. And we also worked with a lot of everything really in the bio field already when we ran that first set of frequencies for you. So let's see how you do here as far as your rectification goes.
And notice how great your rectifications are coming along when you're setting up the vessel priming. I'm very proud of you for that.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll get higher rectification just running all the highs. And we did, look at that, 63% average percent rectification. So that's, I'm really, really happy with that. So I'm going to go back now to the main page. I'm also going to clear everything that is in this main whole tray, because now we're going to start collecting from some of the other libraries. The one thing I do want to look at before we go, just because this is nice to give a little picture, is to look at today's stress. And I will also add in digestion, but we have brain showing up, and which we saw before. So I am going to add brain. I'm going to add all of these items that are above. Actually, I'm going to add them all. So I've added everything in today's stress, because when we get to the progressive insights, it will reorder it, and some of those may change, and we want to just make sure that we are working with them. I also want to go to digestion, and I'm going to add all of these as well, since digestion is such a big part. And just to note, we have stomach as showing as blue and pancreas as red, and then gallbladder is in here, which may want to spend some time with. And I am going to add theta in here, which theta helps keep you in a meditative state. And I'm also just going to add in here from the Saveggio tones our 528 frequency, just so that we have that running throughout when we run the different scans. Okay, so now I'm going to go into libraries. And we already ran the balance on here. And I am going to look at the bioterrain. So we're going to grab the celiac is showing high as a red. When we look at the right frequencies, though, that are in here, it is showing as green, but I'm going to add that anyway, because that may change again when we run it in progressive insights. I'm going to look at the parasites, because that's showing as blue, which is going to be a more chronic issue with them. And I'm going to add all these reds.
If you ask Francesca, she's been a world-class, wild, around the globe trotter traveler, and also loves to swim in lakes. Anybody who ever tells lakes, start thinking about amoebas swim in ocean lake water, or in Giardia beaver lakes or something like that. So in travelers, be especially extra vigilant about looking for parasites that may come from other countries that you may not know about. And she's got quite a handful there. Okay.
Okay. And this one, interestingly, the one that's the top, it says brain tissue here, and brain was one of your top red. So that's really interesting that shows up there. We can look at some of the blues here and add these blues. And I just wanted to look up to see if there was anything.
Just stop right there. Just go back down a tiny bit towards the bottom. It's the most important amoeba of the whole dictionary. I want you guys to memorize this one. It says Fasciolopsis hepatica. Fasciolops makes the the parasite like an amoeba, and hepatica says it's living in the liver. So it's eating like it's like a liver fluke. Do you see those ones right beside each other, right near the bottom? Those would be the most concerning bugs that I ever find, because most doctors never find those, and they end up finding them 20 years later after they ate all your minerals up. So do always look for fasciolopsis or anything that looks like that, okay? Or flukes. And I'm gonna grace you with my What the Fluke book one day.
I'm just looking to see. So here are the eggs. So I'm based on
Yeah.
what you just said, I'm going to add that in, and flukes
Excellent.
in general.
And there's the
And I already added
trypsinoma.
this. I already added this one for the muscle, because obviously if you have something in your muscle that, if that's restricting the ability of your muscles to work properly, that could also affect your posture. So
Absolutely. And the one just above that, trypsinoma, which is what was her number one, it also says she's got the blood version of it in the yellow, in the green. Yeah, that
Mhm.
one. And
And-
Giardia is the most common bug in Canada and America. See that one about 5 down?
yeah, I
Giardia
added it in.
lamblia? Okay, that's the one that you'll see in about 50% of people. The Giardia is very, very common, lives in the gallbladder 25 years, gives you a gallstone and you don't know why. So I think that this is a fantastic panel. I can't tell you how happy I am to see all these words. I used to study each of these when I was an undergrad microbiology student, and it came to me to realize some of these people like some of these parasites like brain tissue, some of them like gut, some of them like pancreas. It depends on what pH conditions they like that defines which organ they invade. So there's certain patterns that you can start realizing that on the amoebas and protozoa tend to take on the worms and the yeast. The lungs and respiratory tend to take on the staph and strep and bacterial infections. And the bladder can take on viruses, worms, yeast, or infections. Any kind of bug can live in the bladder, basically.
So,
So
okay, I think I
I'm
got
glad
most of these.
to do this parasite. Okay.
So I've added most of those. I want to go out now and I want to add the remedies for these. So I'm going to add what's in the reds. I'm probably going to add all the yellows, and I'm going to add all of them in here because, again, when you look at it in relationship to all of them, once you get to the progressive insights, some of these solutions may become highs where they are not now. Is there anything, Deb, that you see that you would like to?
So did you already do the flatworms and tapeworms, that red zone there? And fungus always attacks nerves as well. The ectoderm is a fungal related thing. So, the biome balance. Have you dragged those red zones out of this page into the bottom?
I'm sorry, which red zones?
The red zones on this page, can you add them to the bottom? So that
I
you
did.
don't have to hand pick them?
I just did that.
Okay. So everything on.
I added
Okay.
the reds and the blues from this page.
Okay, now, when you
Oh.
have that many items on a page, you're going to tell this client, you've been struggling with this for decades likely, so it's going to take you some time to come around this, and you need to have regular use of your Genius program and your 2-week new free trial, which we can help supervise you, and you're going to have to address some of these elements yourself on a regular repeated basis until things settle down. So we're not promising you any instantaneous revelation, but your nerves can restore themselves if they've been depleted by these thieves in your hotel. Then if we take out the thieves in the hotel stealing all your manganese for nerves, your tin and copper was low, your iodine was low, your sulfur was low, all the things that help your metabolism and your muscles hold their tension, feeling that over time, you're going to pass another couple of weeks from now and let us know how you're progressing, okay?
So I just wanted to, I added for the pH level, I've added the blues and the red up here to
Yeah.
as kind of a solution.
Her pancreas said that it was a most difficult organ. So pancreatic fluke, pancreatic tapeworm, lack of bicarb, and gushing bicarb, making her alkaline. That's why these parasites like to live around the soda fountain called bicarbonate soda fountain, right around the pancreas. So if you feel like there's a pH problem, look to the pancreas very heavily.
Yeah,
And
I'm
restoring
sorry.
biome balance. I think you already got all that.
Yeah, I'm just adding these from the sounds, colors, and elements while you were talking. I included those that were 200 and below and 600 and above.
Excellent.
And I want to go out of here and I want to, oh, I didn't
That
mean to
color
do that.
therapy is super strong, ladies and gentlemen. It's way stronger than I would ever have given it credit for.
I just want to look at muscles in here to see.
The muscle you would be looking for is the one that holds you up against Parkinson's and shuffling old man syndrome, which is the paraspinal muscles. They run on dopamine. Anybody with a lot of parasites that steal dopamine, they don't have enough dopamine left to hold their posture upright. So do look at the postural muscles, okay?
Um,
And her number one muscle is the scalenes, which go to the gallbladder. The spinalis, there at the bottom,
oh, which
those
one?
blue zones are really, those blue zones at the bottom were all the things that hold her upright.
Right.
They're
So,
very tired.
and
Give her, put them all on there. Why don't you give her them all? What the heck? What do you got to lose?
actually, I think I did
I
add
mean,
them
she
all.
really is.
I did add all the muscles.
Okay, I love that. I love the fact that you give me all the toppings on my ice cream.
Well, because you never know. Again, once we look at them in relationship to each other, they show up. Also, sometimes we have muscles are reactive when one might not be working it over, it causes another muscle to work harder. So we just want to make sure that they're all getting enough energy. The other thing I just want to look at in here is, because we're dealing with posture, is just to make sure that we're getting oxygen to where it needs to be. So I'm just going to add in the reds and the blues here. And I think that we're ready to do our full analysis now. So what shows is flora, which is in your gut. And then we have, and Laura, this is what Dr. Deb was talking about with the color therapy. We have the color and the music and the elements in the one library. So I'm going to run all of these. We're running a little bit short on time. So I'm going to run all of them twice, rescanning in between, and then just the highs for 3 minutes.
Denise, is there any way for you to save this recipe that you so diligently put together, and then we could put that somehow into her quantum cap? Is there a way to actually deliver?
Yeah, you just hit the share button.
So what
So
you've now collected here?
yes. So Francesca, do you have a quantum capsule?
No, maybe Deb, can you take that on?
She doesn't have one yet, nor do I. So I'm going to just try to get that. I'm going to start learning that from you. Does it have to be shared with a capsule address or just an email address?
If you're going to set one up for her, it needs to be her email address.
Okay.
We have 33% rectification, so that's pretty good, but I am going to run it again. I just want to rescan now just to see what is coming to the surface now as like your high priority. So we see some parasites that have come to the surface here, quite a number of them actually. And the one for the brain tissue is one of them, and the one for the muscle. So I'm just going to run all these highs again. Okay, so Terry's asking, do you need to have the items checked off for them to add to the Quanta capsule, or does the entire tray get loaded? The items that get sent to the Quanta capsule are the last items that you ran the frequencies on. So yes, it would be, in this case, all of them are ticked off, so they would all get sent. If this ended and I just clicked the highs and ran those, just ran the highs, then it would only be the highs that were shared to the Quanta capsule.
Thank you,
Oh,
Laura Hall,
Laura,
for
you're
offering
so
to help with the
sweet.
quantum.
So Laura said she can gift you a Quanta capsule. If you would like a Quanta capsule, she can
Oh,
gift it to you.
that's so nice. Thank
If
you.
you wanted to do that, Laura, oh my God, that's so amazing of you. And I'm
Wow.
sure Francesca would appreciate it. Deb, maybe you can just type Francesca, you can type your email address into the chat
Very, yeah, thank you so much, Laura.
and Laura could send that. Now I am going to rescan. And yes, Laura, the library that I'm working, that you're referring to about the color therapy is in the bioterrain libraries. When we get them out, I know you're all being so patient and I appreciate it. We will definitely let everyone know, I promise, as soon as they're released. So
It's
now we're going to work.
because Denise is being so diligent and picking my brains for every new one, that, you know, we might have to just tell you that we might upgrade it later, because I've been dumping 50 years of knowledge into her lap for the last few weeks. However, it is, as you can see, quite a useful scenario to look at those things in comparison with each other. Wouldn't you agree? And if any of you are interested, put a 1 in the chat box if you want to cheer Denise on in terms of that, because we'd like to have the best possible, you know, mindset and technical skills to just dissect a complex case like this with like a piece of cake, whether you have any medical background or not.
Okay, Francesca, do you have any dogs or cats?
No,
Are you around them? Because the parasites for tapeworms from dogs and cats is showing up.
I was just with a couple dogs for a few days.
I don't know how long. I mean, it could be recent or may not, but there's no way for me to tell from here. But we do see these famous ones that Dr. Deb was talking about before that are
And
showing
the one
up.
right on the number one position, Dientamoeba fragilis, is one of the most important bugs. That one causes a lot of dysentery, gallbladder troubles, pancreatitis, duodenitis, celiac induction. It's one of the more common and more nasty bugs that makes you feel fragile, if you will. So I definitely would take a really close look at that one as well.
Okay, well, that's in the
Giardia,
highs. I'm going to
fasciculosa. So
run that. If Claire or Connie
Yep,
can
go
just
for
put in the
it.
chat the link. Francesca, do you have an Android or an iPhone?
Yeah, I'm just getting that. It's an Android, right?
So if somebody can put the oh, there it is. I see it. The link for the Android Quanta Cap, so Francesca could upload it. That would be great. Sorry, guys, my voice. Okay, so I've selected 3 minutes and I'm going to run just the highs now. Francesca,
I think we're killing a parasite.
in me, in my
I think we're
throat.
killing parasites in us as I'm getting it also, so we might be clearing out some mucus out of our own throats as we're watching this three-dimensional hologram go by.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Like I can't speak all of a sudden.
Oh, you know what?
Francesca, in your posture, do you feel tightness or
Just gonna do that. Denise,
I'm just curious if you feel any, maybe if you feel maybe the muscles in your back relaxing?
okay,
You can say no.
well, you know what? I could say something, yes. Yeah, I'll say positive, thank you. Good, Denise. Quite
Maybe,
possible.
maybe you'll be taller after this
Huh?
session. Maybe you'll be taller.
No.
Yes, Wendy, you can most definitely use this biotrain libraries on animals. And awesome, thank you, Laura. I will send these frequencies to her when I'm done. Minute left to cook.
It's a good time when you're having a pause to remind clients that they need to drink water to release the mucus and flush the system after releasing vibrational patterns out of them. They may be tired, they may be yawning, they may have a change in bowel movement, sweat, odor, and so that's all normal so that they don't need to panic as they're releasing things. Okay, some people just have a stronger release mechanism than others, and so you have to work at the speed and the intensity that you can tolerate. 90 minutes twice a week or 3 times a week is quite plenty, okay, folks? This is a strong technology. So give yourself a day of cleaning and then a day of rest to process it all.
You know, Denise, I can actually feel a tingling sensation in my spine. I do feel that.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
And you know, I do the Course of Miracles every morning, meditation with a bunch of people around North America. And I think I have a sensitivity to my body because of doing that. So I really do feel it. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. We had a 34% rectification on that, which I like to see that higher, but because you are set up, I'm going to share these frequencies right now with you. Let me just scroll back to your your email. Let me just type this in here. And you hit add. And now I'm going to send it to you.
Thank you.
And yay, they have been sent to you. So you can run these frequencies for yourself now. Run them, I would say 2 to 3 times a day. Let me just say
Yeah,
3
fantastic.
times a day. And you can run, I would run it. I would run it for 7 minutes, 3 times a day.
Very good.
Each
And
time.
so do it, stagger it to morning, afternoon, and evening.
Yeah, I would do it morning, afternoon, and evening, not so late that just in case, sometimes people get a little oversensitized and it may affect your sleeping. Some people are perfectly fine and can play them like through in the night and it doesn't bother them, but you'll see if you feel overstimulated, then you would want to give it a little bit of time before bed. Just make sure that you're always drinking a lot of water when you're running it, because it is dehydrating and your body will absorb them better if you are hydrated.
So to do that, I just press the play button, Denise. It'll be quite self-explanatory.
Yeah, I can send you a link later with instructions. So we'll show you how to do that. I want to look at your aura And I also there will be one other thing that I want to run, but I also just want to let everybody know, you'll be check out in Mighty Networks in the events. We have added another Tuesday class. Dr. Swan and I will be doing a group healing on Tuesdays at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. And for anyone not familiar with Dr. Swan, she has worked with metaphysics for 30 years, and she healed herself 20 years ago. She was like on her deathbed. So she has a lot of information to offer, and she wants to offer that as a group healing session, and I will help facilitate that with her. So I hope you can join us all. Okay, so now getting back to your aura here. What I would like to do, because it's still dirty, we've been running a lot of frequencies, so there's a lot of energy moving around. I like to run like crystals. So I will use the ones, these Alaskan gem elixirs, and I'm going to use the quick balance on here. That way I don't have to drag and drop anything. I'm just going to run them for 1 minute. And this helps with stability and grounding. So hopefully that will help settle all the frequencies and the energies within your aura field as well. Laura, did you have your answer? I'm just getting to the bottom questions. Did you have your question answered about you missed something that Dr. Deb said? I can get you those, Laura. Just message me.
She was just making sure that we, take hydration, rest, more nutrition, appropriate rest days between if you're feeling like you need to let the jello set. A couple of those things are important. As you can see, we can get a lot done in 7 minutes, 3 times a day. You don't necessarily have to take 3 hours every day to do this, okay? A lot can be done in a short period of time.
There is a question about shungite in here, Dr. Deb. I don't know.
Two issues. Laura Hall just reminded me that I said, well, take a rest in between days. If you're doing a big detox for 90 minutes one day, you may need the lymph nodes to actually take a day off between sessions if you're doing heavily detox. If you're just doing support work and pushing positives into the body, 7 minutes 3 times a day is practically nothing in terms of, pumping some good stuff into you. But if the body flexes to come back to normal, every time you test something, the body thinks you're getting, an invasion of its aura to ask all these thousands of questions. So if you keep doing a voice print every single day or 3 times a day, your body is actually having a quantum field adjustment. Even every time you open up your mouth and do another voice print, you're actually getting treated. So, letting a couple of days go between and allowing the jelly to set is not a bad idea when you're heavily detoxing. If you want to do a sprint and do it every single day, you got to watch your side effects. Are your bowel movements coming out okay or not? If there's no exits open, you got to slow down until the exits are open.
And that's always good, which you have mentioned before about taking a fiber or psyllium to help pass the parasites as they're dying off. Deb, maybe you could speak to this question here. I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce your name right. Kamal, is that? But she's asking about the shungite, but we're kind of running out of time here. So maybe you want to ask that question on Mighty Networks, and we can address that, because I don't think it's going to be a quick answer.
And you could look up shungite here. I believe it probably is in some of your stones or minerals to see if the person needs it, wants it, or hates it. Shungite is a very, 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 very absorbing negative energy. So if you actually are wearing it all the time and not taking a break from it, or wearing it when you're trying to actually use your Genius program, it could be blocking all the energy coming in from the Genius program into you. So you have to take off protective jewelry or EMF shields off your body, or take your cell phone, which has a shield, if it has a shield on it, away from you when you're using the Genius, so that the vibrations can actually enter your body. Now, some of us, you're asking us questions that we aren't experts in, and asking us to put published answers into things that we're not experts in on the Mighty Networks chat box is not always a perfect solution to your questions, just because I'm not an expert in all gemstones and I don't know those answers. So when in doubt, you may have to do some Google searches, or DuckDuckGo is probably a better search engine for some of these things.
So yeah, I agree.
We try to answer the questions that we can. If anybody else knows the answers to these questions, feel free.
Chime in. Anyway, we are, 10 minutes past, and, we need to stay on our schedule here. Francesca, how are you feeling, most importantly?
Well, I mean, I could stand up and try walking a bit to answer that better, but
Sure, why don't you? We would love to see.
do that. Yeah. You know what? I can notice an absolute veritable difference. No question. I'm not hunching over. Wow. Very impressive. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I would like to see, again, with the aura, it's still, muddy and dirty and muted, but we are seeing some change. We're seeing some colors come in here. They're not bright and vibrant like I would like it, but we worked with a lot of frequencies today. So if we had more time, we might be able to work with that a little bit better, but given the limited time on a demo scan and trying to teach as well, it's a little bit harder, but
Well, that's pretty
so
amazing.
grateful and so happy that you were able to join us.
Thank you so much, everybody, and Denise and Dr. Drake. I'm really honored to be here, and I'm very appreciative. So when you, just quickly, am I allowed to be in your other programs for the next couple of weeks? Is that
Oh yeah, these are absolutely, these are open to everyone. And before I forget, everyone, I hope this is working. I'm posting a link for the Dr. Swan and myself. We're calling it a master class, quantum evolutionary transformation experience. So it is more of an experience than of a practical teaching, although we will have each week themed, and we will work with specific libraries that Dr. Swan has curated, and some that I've curated to work on that topic. So I really hope that you could join us. We're really excited about adding another element and teaching experience to everybody into the Genius. So please join us. This is in Mighty Networks. Yes, Laura, you can also find the event in Mighty Networks, and it will be going out in an email on Monday. So everybody should be getting that in an email on Monday. Let me see some excitement if you're excited to have another a group healing session for everybody. So anyway, thank you to everybody. Thank you to Claire and Connie for all your support, and of course, Dr. Deb. And we will see you Tuesday, hopefully with both Dr. Deb and with Dr. Swan. And everybody have a wonderful weekend. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Free to put it into the blog. Great job, Denise.
Yes.
Thanks so much. We'll see you shortly.
You're welcome. Yep, will do.